The airplane cabin buzzed with the usual shuffle of boarding passengers, but seat 12C held a quiet story no one cared to notice. A thin man with tired eyes sat there, holding a worn backpack between his feet and a folded paper airplane made from a children's coloring sheet. The cabin light reflected on his unshaven face, hinting at many sleepless nights. His clothing was simple, faded around the edges, and his shoes had clearly walked farther than most people ever noticed. He looked like someone carrying a weight too heavy to explain, yet he said nothing. His eyes drifted toward the window as if the sky held answers. Travelers around him slipped past with barely a glance. They saw a man who looked poor, ordinary, and forgettable. None of them knew that everything he carried had been bought with struggle and love. None of them knew what he had given up. None of them knew what he had survived. They only saw seat 12C, not the heart sitting inside it. If you believe kindness matters, if you believe people deserve second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps stories like this find the hearts that need them. His name was Ravi Omari, a 36-year-old single father from a small town where factories closed faster than hopes rose. His wife, Nisha, had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness that drained not only her strength but also every financial resource they had saved. Ravi had been a technician at a local workshop, but after the medical bills, the long hours, and the crushing grief, his job slipped away. He became the kind of man who repaired old electronics for neighbors, who worked part-time at odd hours, who skipped meals quietly so his 8-year-old daughter, Myra, could have hers. Myra was his entire world. Her smile gave him the strength to do impossible things. He braided her hair in the mornings, walked her to school holding her tiny hand, and whispered stories at night of better days that had not yet arrived but felt worth fighting for. Yet despite all of this, life kept pushing harder. When Ravi received the phone call about an opportunity for a stable job at an aviation equipment plant across the country, he felt hope flicker again. The interview was in 2 days, and he had only enough savings for one plane ticket. He made the choice any loving parent would. He left Myra with his kind elderly neighbor, promising to return with good news. He kissed her forehead and tucked the paper airplane she made for him into his pocket, telling her it was luck, strength, and home all folded together. His daughter told him, "You can do anything, Papa. Promise me you will try." Ravi promised. The airport was overwhelming. He felt small in a crowd of people rushing toward destinations carved by certainty and money. He avoided eye contact, afraid of being judged. He carried no stylish luggage, just that old backpack filled with carefully ironed clothes and the important documents he guarded like treasure. Boarding the plane, he felt relief that at least this part of the journey was moving forward. Yet even on the plane, the world made assumptions. The business travelers eyed him briefly, then dismissed him. The couple beside him whispered to each other about hoping no one unpleasant sat near them. No one asked his name. No one asked where he was going or what he was hoping for. People saw a story they thought they recognized and moved on. As the plane taxied, Ravi closed his eyes and held that paper airplane. He prayed for strength. He prayed not to fail his daughter. About 20 minutes into the flight, the captain's voice came through the speakers announcing that the plane would be flying in formation with 2 F-16 fighter jets for a brief ceremonial escort, honoring a fallen veteran whose remains were being transported in the cargo hold below. The cabin quieted, and eyes softened with respect. Ravi's posture straightened. His breathing shifted. He looked out the window to see the sleek gray jets gliding with power and precision alongside them. Something in him stirred. Old and raw. Ravi had once served as an aircraft maintenance specialist in the Air Wing Division 15 years ago. He had enlisted when he was barely older than a boy, eager to serve something greater than himself. He worked with dedication and pride, maintaining aircraft systems and ensuring crew safety. He had been part of operations that required steady hands, clear judgment, and quiet courage. Yet after his service, he returned home to a world that did not welcome veterans the way they hoped. His contributions became memories rather than credentials. He carried honor, but honor did not pay rent. He never spoke much about his service. Not because he was ashamed, but because life had taught him that people listened only to the stories they wanted to hear. A gentle movement caught the attention of a passing flight attendant. She noticed the insignia tattoo on Ravi's wrist. Faded, but unmistakable. She paused and asked softly if he had served. Ravi nodded once. He did not add anything. She whispered a thank you and walked away, but her expression held respect that he had not felt directed at him in years. When the plane landed, passengers prepared to rush out as usual, ready to forget the journey and return to their lives. Yet something different happened. Before the door opened, the captain and a member of the F-16 flight crew boarded the aircraft from the tarmac. They walked directly to seat 12C. The cabin fell silent. Conversation stopped. Every pair of eyes turned toward Ravi. The captain addressed him with a voice steady but filled with meaning. He spoke words of recognition, acknowledging Ravi's former service, acknowledging the sacrifices he had made, and thanking him for maintaining aircraft that had once protected others. The F-16 crew member, a young pilot with sharp posture and eyes full of earnest respect, saluted him. Not casually. Not performatively. Fully. Precisely. Like one honors a superior, Ravi did not know what to do. His eyes filled before he could stop them. Slowly, shakily, he stood and returned the salute. The cabin did not clap. They did not cheer. The moment was too sacred for noise. Yet something shifted in the air. The passengers who had ignored him now saw him. Truly saw him. Not the worn clothes. Not the tired face. The man. The father. The veteran, after the salute, the captain placed a small silver pin in Ravi's hand, an acknowledgement of service and continued honor. He quietly told the gate staff to upgrade Ravi's future travel. The passengers stepped aside and let him walk ahead without a single whispered judgment. The flight attendant who had noticed him earlier walked with him to the terminal doorway. She asked if she could help him find his way. Ravi smiled for the first time that day and told her he could manage. He had not felt that strong in a long time. He arrived at his interview with a calm presence he did not expect. The managers noticed his discipline, his knowledge, his steady voice. They did not see a desperate man. They saw someone who had weathered storms and still showed up with quiet purpose. They offered him the job the same day. Not out of pity, but because he earned it. When Ravi returned home, he walked up to his small house and knocked lightly before stepping inside. Myra ran into his arms with so much force he almost lost his balance. He laughed, holding her close, and told her everything. She climbed into his lap and held his face in her small hands. She said she knew he would do it. She said heroes always find their way home. Ravi had never considered himself a hero. Yet in that moment, with his daughter's arms around him and tomorrow finally looking better than yesterday, he believed anything was still possible. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement helps keep these meaningful stories alive.